When I talk to her about what she's got coming up, she can no longer trust, is that the right date? Was that the right time? I don't remember that. You know, there will be lots of cross-outs. You can't make heads or tails out of it. The calendar ends up looking like an abstracted two-dimensional version of the interior of the mind. You know, what happens when you're forgetting and you can't trust what you remember? On some level, you know, Alzheimer's is a kind of death in life when your mom or your dad no longer recognizes their son or daughter. The person is no longer there. And yet they are. Deal with that.
You're going to forget everything you know and everyone you love. That's exactly what the doctor said, word by word, after examining my wife. Even to this day, I wake up in the middle of the night, shaking with fright with the sadistically vivid images of my wife, Tracy, crashing through the parking lot landscaping and out into the middle of a busy street. It was one of those perfect early summer Florida nights, the kind people brag about to their friends after their vacation. One moment, Tracy and I are making friendly chit-chat with our cashier at a local grocery store. And the next, my reality was shattered when Tracy suddenly panicked and ran screaming from the store. As I followed her through the parking lot, the sounds of traffic and people filling my ears, and the smells of night-blooming orange blossoms filling my nose, I was still trying to understand what was happening and deal with the confusion, until I saw Tracy disappear behind a row of hibiscus bushes along the street, and my confusion turned into icy cold, freezing terror. When the screech of tires and the bellow of a horn shattered my world, Tracy had run headlong straight out of the parking lot and into the busy street directly in front of a city bus. When I tell you it was the most terrifying and surreal experience of my life, I'm not exaggerating. Tracy didn't run straight into a busy street because she was suicidal, and it wasn't because she was having some kind of psychotic episode. The reason for her life-threatening behavior was much more insidious. You see, a year before that nightmare-inducing event, Tracy was diagnosed with stage 2 Alzheimer's, and it was this illness that caused her to forget who I was and become terrified that her life was in danger.
Alzheimer's is not only my story, it could be your story, or the story of a relative or a close friend.
Why am I telling you this? Because it was this horrible moment in our lives that sent me on an obsessive quest to find a way to cope and treat Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory diseases. A journey that would expose the dark side of the corporate medical world. In my obsession to find a way to combat Alzheimer's, I discovered the twisted, greedy, and blatantly dangerous practices of big pharmaceutical companies.
Donna is taking an experimental drug, hoping to stave off dementia.
That same area from the covering of
The companies testing Alzheimer's drugs have their own hopes. Bring in billions of dollars.
My amazing, often frustrated and revelatory search would eventually lead me to uncover a startling medical secret that can stop, reverse, and eliminate even the most severe cases of Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory diseases. But before I get into the details, let me introduce myself. My name is Paul Marston, and 4 years ago my wife's life and my own were turned upside down by our doctor's revelation that my wife had Alzheimer's. Like many people, I think, I resigned myself to simply deal with it and make Tracy feel as comfortable as possible. Until that fateful June night in 2013, the night that would change our lives forever and would lead to an astonishing discovery and a revolutionary treatment for Tracy and others just like her, perhaps like you or someone you love. It doesn't matter whether the person suffering is in a late or early stage, or is simply even at risk of developing age-related memory loss. This treatment is based on several remarkable independent studies from Brown University, Louisiana State University, and on the crucial help of a doctor chemist whose identity I cannot disclose at his request, who joined my cause and who stood with me against Big Pharma, and who's helped me all the way to putting the final pieces of the puzzle together. We made our big discovery by adjusting one's own body chemistry and exercising one's own brain. And as it turned out, it was possible to combat an Alzheimer's patient's own destructive biology and permanently reverse the disease. But what was even more astonishing was that we managed to do it without any of the expensive drugs and conventional treatments recommended for the disease, but do it naturally with simple and affordable ingredients found in any grocery store. It's already proven to be effective, and it all hinges on a single biological key manufactured by your own body. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you what this substance is and how you can get any Alzheimer's, dementia, or other memory loss-related disease sufferer's own body to produce this substance and put it to work, which translates by permanently stopping, reversing, and even eliminating the insidious symptoms once and for all. I'm also going to share with you all of the research that's been done. I'm going to show you how my gut-wrenching experience with my wife led me to find this cure, and the scientist who would work with me to unlock the secrets you're about to learn. I'm going to show you the easy-to-follow steps that you can take or help a loved one take to permanently stop Alzheimer's from attacking and decimating the precious brain cells, and how you can actually reverse the process and bring yourself or a loved one back from the brink of self-annihilation. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, dementia, or are simply having strange memory issues, then it's vital that you pay close attention to what I'm about to share with you. It's literally been proven to save lives, but you must seize this opportunity while it's still available. Even as you sit and watch this presentation, we're being pressured by a group of, well, there's no better way to say this, pharmaceutical companies and their ruthless reps, who are making the impossible possible just to keep this information away from you. My discovery has shown a burning light on what these people have not done and how they've turned their backs on real Alzheimer's, dementia, and memory disease research in order to squeeze over $100 billion each year from innocent people who are suffering from these horrible diseases. They want me to stop telling people about what I've learned and how I can help them overcome these incurable diseases because I'm literally taking money out of their pockets. Does this sound like a self-aggrandizing delusion? Let me tell it to you straight. My secret treatment has already hit these unscrupulous companies in their pocketbooks. 13,753 people have already learned to use the secrets I've discovered to stop, reverse, and eliminate Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory diseases. They've learned the explicit, step-by-step process that's given them and their loved ones back their lives, and let them throw away their expensive and even dangerous medications to the trash. The last thing these devils want to hear is anyone else saying, I won't lie to you, Paul. When I heard about your program from a friend of mine and that you had a cure, an actual cure for Alzheimer's, I was skeptical to say the least. But I promised my friend I'd at least take a look. And after seeing the science behind what you offer and the clinical testing that's behind it and how many people it's helped, well, I figured what the hell, let's go for it. Paul, you gave me my dad back. Within 30 days, my father was no longer forgetting little things. He now recalls conversations whether from last week or 10 years ago. He's so sharp and focused now. I still can't believe it, and it's been over 6 months. No words of mine can offer enough thanks. Rebecca Hamilton of Houston, Texas. These folks who were kind enough to share their stories and their inner feelings are just a drop in the bucket of those out there who have used the incredible Alzheimer's repair system I'm about to share with you. I know it sounds too good to be true. How can it be possible to reverse this all too common and all too deadly condition? How can it be that your future is no longer as bleak as the one my wife and I were facing just a few years ago, or the one that you may be facing right now? How can it be even remotely possible that you never have to watch another loved one slip away from you until they die seemingly alone and confused? That's what I'm here to prove to you. Stay with me for the next few moments, and I'll show you how activating your body's self-healing biological process can turn your life around forever. I understand that in today's too busy world, you have a lot to do and don't have much time to waste. However, now that you're here, let me be upfront and say there's nothing more important right now than the message I'm about to share with you. Opportunity doesn't knock twice. And now that it's at your door, you owe it to yourself and to your family to pay close attention and learn the scientifically proven secret that's been discovered about Alzheimer's and how you no longer have to stare into a dark abyss. But before all that, I'm guessing you're still wondering just who I am, right? How did I come to find this amazing cure, and how can I back up what I'm claiming? Well, you already know that my name is Paul Marston. I'm a 65-year-old, semi-retired attorney who lives in St. Petersburg, Florida with my wife, Tracy. Like many people, I think, I'd been exposed to Alzheimer's throughout my life, but nothing like the way in which I had to watch Tracy slip away from me over the past few years. It started so mildly, forgetting her car keys or telling old stories a little too frequently. One time she even watered her favorite fern twice in one day. Yet that was only the beginning. I thought we were coping. I thought things were on a pretty even keel, until that terrifying evening just over 3 years ago. It was June 15th, as I'll always remember. Tracy and I were heading home after having dinner with friends at a local seafood and steak restaurant out on Treasure Island. The evening was warm and clear, and a soft summer breeze was blowing in from the beach. It was our friend's 30th anniversary, and we'd pulled out all of the stops. We met at the Middle Grounds restaurant and had champagne waiting at the table for them. It was a great evening, and before it was over, we'd invited them to our house the next day for a barbecue and pool party. After dinner, we exchanged hugs and said we couldn't wait to see each other the next afternoon. As we got in the car and drove home, Tracy mentioned that she wanted to stop by the supermarket to pick up a few things for tomorrow. It was a little past 8:30 p.m., and I can still remember glancing over my shoulder at the western sky where the sun had just set. It was one of those glorious Florida summer evenings that inspire songwriters, in which you feel the whole world is just perfect and everything is somehow right. Ironically, I was so content from our great dinner and the laughs that we'd shared, and how vibrant and sharp Tracy seemed, that I almost forgot about her steadily growing Alzheimer's. It was the perfect setting for a shock that would change our lives forever. The shopping started out routinely enough: hamburger and hot dog buns, a 12-pack of Corona for me and our friend Steve, a few bottles of Chardonnay for the ladies, burgers and dogs, corn on the cob, you know, the typical summer pool cookout stuff. Everyday domestic bliss, right? After a couple of minutes, though, Tracy stopped pushing our cart near the produce and seemed to lose focus. She looked around in confusion for a moment. Just as I was about to ask her if she was okay, Tracy grimaced, shook her head, and smiled at me. What else did we need? Oh, yeah, asparagus. And limes for you boys' beer. Remember, I was used to this by now. It wasn't uncommon for Tracy to have a small lapse in memory. Hell, who doesn't now and then, Alzheimer's or not? Yet a few minutes later, she did it again. Just stopped, looked around, and this time she seemed more than confused. She seemed alarmed. This time I put my arms around her and held her close and told her it was okay, and just relaxed for a moment. It was strange, because when I told her, Tracy seemed to tense up and almost seemed like she was going to pull away for a moment. Now that had never happened before. Once again, though, she seemed to shake it off, and we picked up the rest of the groceries and headed for the checkout line. Everything got back to normal. Tracy was even making friendly chit-chat with our cashier. The girls were mentioning how gorgeous an evening it was, how the checkout girl wished she could be at the beach watching the sunset instead of working that night. When all of a sudden, Tracy got that confused and nervous look on her face again. She was rummaging in her purse and a look of fright just materialized on her face. She just seemed to freeze in place, one hand in the purse and her eyes darting around wildly, and she began shaking nervously. I went to put my arm around her waist and ask if she was all right, and at that instant, my world exploded into chaos and terror. Tracy screamed like she'd been burned and lunged sideways. She started screaming, "No, no, stay away from me." And then she ran. She just bolted out the door and into the parking lot. I was stunned for a moment and didn't know what to do. I'd never seen this before, and it shook me to the core. The checkout girl looked at me in open-mouthed astonishment, and I swear I must have stared back at her for at least 30 seconds or so with the same look of bewilderment on my face. I finally gathered up enough of my senses to run after her. As I exited the store, I saw Tracy actually sprinting right toward the street. I just couldn't believe it. There was my 63-year-old wife running at full speed through a crowded parking lot. It was dark now, and the lot lights had come on and were casting shadows among the parked cars. The scene was just so unreal. I called after her as I began to run, and I think I only scared her even more because she looked over her shoulder and headed straight for the street. Tracy had gotten a good head start on me and was nearly to the other side of the lot before I even started running. It was dark out, and there at the end of the lanes where the parking lot met the sidewalk and the street beyond, there was a dense row of palm trees and hibiscus bushes that were at least head high. Tracy just plowed right through them and disappeared. She was gone from sight, and I had no idea which way she'd go. As I headed for the spot where she'd disappeared, I began to hope that whatever was going on would pass, and I'd find Tracy standing on the sidewalk, looking embarrassed, but otherwise okay. In the next instant, though, I heard two sounds that every parent or spouse hopes never to hear. The sound of screeching brakes and a horn that seemed to blast right through my soul. I freaked out. This could actually be happening. My stomach twisted into a knot and my heart leapt into my throat as I crashed through the bushes, and the sight before me was like nothing I could imagine. My whole body went chill, and I think I might have passed out if it weren't for the rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins. A city bus was stopped by the curb, and already a crowd of people had gathered around a crumpled form lying face down in the street. Part of me knew, but even as I stumbled closer, I couldn't bring myself to believe it was Tracy. But it was. As I stepped up, pale and unsteady, somebody, I think it was the bus driver, grabbed my arm and said something to me. It was like a horror movie, where everything suddenly switches to slow motion. There didn't seem to be any sound, and it was like my mind just couldn't accept what my eyes were seeing. "Take it easy, mister," the man who held my arm said. "Take it easy. She ain't hit." I swear it took an eternity for those words to sink into the fog of terror that surrounded me. I looked at him stupidly. "What?" "We didn't hit her, mister," the man said again, shakily but soothingly. I think she fainted. "Not hit?" I asked sluggishly, stressed out brain not quite kicking into gear. "No," the driver said again, a little more firmly this time. "I hope to God that you never have to go through anything like that. And now I can honestly say that you and anyone you know afflicted by this horrible disease never has to." I bent down and eased my wife into a sitting position. Other than a few scrapes on her face where she'd fallen and hit the pavement, she seemed unhurt. I cradled her in my arms and just started shaking, and tears spilled from my eyes. The adrenaline and terror at the realization that if not for a miraculous stroke of fortune, I could be cradling Tracy's broken and lifeless body just then, completely overtook me. After a minute or so, she opened her eyes and looked up at me in confusion. "Paul?" she said in a bewildered tone. "What's going on?" I knew Tracy had Alzheimer's and had it for a year or so. Yet until this day, I guess I didn't really understand how bad it could be. I didn't realize that she could suddenly and completely forget where she was, who I was, and what was going on. And that this condition could be so terrifying that it could drive a person to do something reckless and even life-threatening. I could have lost my wife that warm summer evening, and it was partly my fault. If I'd reacted faster, if I'd been more prepared, the very next day we went to see her doctor and I related the story. He frowned and nodded inside and told us that while this might not be a regular thing, Tracy's lapse of last night was bound to happen again at some point, and such traumatic events could become more frequent as time passed. When I asked him what we could do about it, our doctor only shook his head and said that he could up her doses and that maybe it was time to consider putting Tracy in an assisted living facility. Can you believe that? I should put my 63-year-old wife in a home. That was the expert medical advice we were paying for. If you met Tracy, you'd never guess that she was in her mid-60s. She's fit, active, and beautiful. I can't imagine putting someone with such a zest for living away like a mental patient or an old person. "There must be something that we can do," I protested. "There must be some research, some new drug, something. Paul, our doctor said helplessly, if I knew, I'd tell you, believe me. Hell, we barely even understand what this disease is or how people get it, much less how to treat it. I'm sorry, but there's just nothing you can do. Well, I wouldn't accept that. And it was right there and then that I decided that if our doctor was no help, then I would do something about it. I thought about other Alzheimer's and dementia sufferers that I'd known in my life, about how you could do nothing but watch them slide slowly into living death, forgetting who they were, what they'd been, and who they'd loved. I would find a way to make Tracy's life better and stop her from slipping away from me, even if I had to go to the ends of the earth to do it. Tracy, of course, was just as adamant as I was that there must be something to be done. From that day forward, we began an obsessive search. I scoured medical journals, spent hundreds of hours researching the internet for articles and research studies. We visited university libraries and purchased books on Alzheimer's, dementia, memory illnesses, and even brain chemistry. Tracy and I wanted to know what Alzheimer's really was. We wanted more than the simple and vague description given to us by her doctor. I wanted to truly understand how this disease worked, how it progressed, and if there was any way to stop it, reverse it, and even prevent it. I quickly felt like I was being dragged down into quicksand, though. It seemed like the more I learned, the more questions were raised. There wasn't one clear definition or cause or treatment, and even though there seemed to be some promising research, there wasn't any cure. Whatever there was regarding treatment was bleak, to say the least. There were expensive and dangerous drugs that treated symptoms or masked them, but nothing that really helped. There were piles and piles of internet articles and blogs of people raving about how there should be a cure. There were crazy websites that sold $99 bottles of juice made from some plant I'd never heard of that would cure all your ailments. And there sure was a lot about how hopeless having Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory illnesses truly was. The one thing that I got from these months of tiring research was that Alzheimer's was a death sentence and there wasn't a damn thing anybody could do about it. After 5 months or so of this, I really felt like giving up. Maybe I should just resign myself to the facts and spend as much time with Tracy as I could, while she is still mostly lucid and in the here and now, I thought to myself. We could videotape conversations and have her tell her favorite story so that our grandchildren would have something to see after she couldn't tell them herself anymore. And yet, something in me just wouldn't let me give up. I was honestly obsessed with finding some way to cure my wife, or at least prolong our time together. It seemed like whenever I felt like throwing in the towel, I'd dream about that horrible night in June. In my nightmare, though, Tracy was lying in the street in a spreading pool of blood, her body broken and twisted in a way that nobody should ever appear. I'd wake up covered in sweat, with my heart racing, and those terrifyingly vivid images would make me get up and log onto my computer. It was on one of those nights, December 3rd to be exact, at about 3:15 a.m., that I finally saw a light at the end of our dark tunnel. I ran across 2 studies from Brown University and LSU that at least gave me some hope and something tentative to grasp. A lifeline to a drowning man. A team at Brown in Providence, Rhode Island, was actually doing research on diabetes. They found that the pancreas wasn't the only organ that produced insulin. It turns out that our brains do also. By inducing diabetes symptoms in test mice, the Brown team found that they could also induce these same mice to develop Alzheimer's. By increasing the amount of sugar and grains that the mice were eating, the scientists found that the production of insulin and leptin in the mice's brains was clocked, and that soon after, in addition to type 2 diabetes, the mice were clearly showing symptoms of Alzheimer's. And then there was the Louisiana State University study that focused on what's known as a ketogenic diet. In such a diet, the focus was to get the body to start producing ketones, a substance which dissolves sugar and converts it to energy for the cells. These studies showed that a diet that produced ketones increased blood flow to the brain and also increased the efficiency of the body's ability to metabolize sugars rather than store them. And here's the kicker. It turns out that brain cells can metabolize ketones far more effectively than they can metabolize glucose, blood sugar. And in fact, the real clincher was that the LSU team found that brain cells damaged by Alzheimer's plaques could actually metabolize ketones and could even repair themselves. My heart began to race again, not from fear this time, but from excitement. could this be it? I knew I'd found the key, but not the total solution. I needed more help, expert help, to take this information and turn it into something useful. So the very next day, I got on the phone and began calling every Alzheimer's expert I could think of. I talked to pharmacists, doctors, memory experts, you name it. I even spoke with several natural healing experts too, but was getting nowhere fast. Like my and Tracy's own search, these folks were just as in the dark as we were. Once again, I was slamming my head up against a brick wall. I just couldn't believe it. There was proof to be a natural treatment or the beginnings of one for Alzheimer's and dementia, and yet nobody knew anything about it. Believe it or not, I even got in touch with some key people at several large and well-known pharmaceutical companies. For legal reasons, I can't name names, but believe me, you'd know them if I did. I thought maybe they could help because they have the financial power and research capabilities to create something useful. Well, that was a bust. Not only did I get rather insulting responses, basically telling me that if there really was such a treatment, they'd know about it, and that I should leave medicine to medical professionals. They even vaguely warned me that I could get into trouble by going out on my own and trying to create something myself. They said that they empathized with my wife's condition, but that there was really nothing I could do. I was even more frustrated than ever. I couldn't accept defeat now. I couldn't come to terms with the fact that there seemed to be something that could be done to give my wife her life back, that could help millions of people avoid the slow and horrible loss of their own identities. I just couldn't or wouldn't give up when the end seemed so close. So I did something desperate. I got in my car and drove to LSU to hunt down and talk to anybody who'd been on the research team in the article I'd read. I was a man on a mission and I wouldn't be stopped by anything now. It took me nearly a week, but I found the person I was looking for. I'd visited the campus every day and spoke to everyone I could, and at first things didn't go well. Either most of the team members were no longer at the school, or they were too busy or not interested in talking to me. Near the end of the week, I found myself in the office of Dr. Fred Turner. Dr. Turner wasn't an MD. He had a PhD in biochemistry and specialized in neurochemistry and brain function. Ironically, Dr. Turner wasn't a member of the LSU team that had published a study. He'd come to the university a little later, but was very interested in the research. I briefly explained to Dr. Turner about Tracy's story and what I'd been doing for the past few months. I told him about the studies I'd read and about how the Brown program and the studies at his own school had sparked off something in me. "I can't believe this," Dr. Turner said. "It's like fate, perhaps. You couldn't have come at a better time, Paul, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately and I think I have an idea. I just need some help and the financial backing to get my idea off the ground." "I can't do it alone," Dr. Turner kept going. "I need help with research and testing. I need another person or two to speed up this process and make it happen. And here you walk through my door, obsessed with curing your wife and with a grain of hope to get me motivated. This must be for a reason." "Whatever you need, I'll do it," I told him. "I'm not rich by any means, but I do have equity in my house, some cash saved and some pretty decent investments. Tell me what you want to do and we'll make it happen." Dr. Turner's hypothesis was that by combining certain foods in the proper portions and combinations, we could not only get the body to vastly increase its production of ketones, we could actually promote the body's own healing processes, especially in the brain. This newly created biochemistry would power the brain's ability to repair the damage caused by Alzheimer's plaques and tangles and begin rejuvenating brain cells. Additionally, Dr. Turner was working on a series of mental exercises that would be designed to work in concert with the eating plan to stimulate the mind and create new neural pathways. What we created together was a scientifically balanced protocol that would stop, reverse, and even eliminate Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory diseases. Because we weren't working on a drug, we didn't have to wait years for testing and FDA approval. We didn't have to fight the big pharma conglomerates and compete with them in any way. Instead, we carefully, over the next few months, created and tested an all-natural plan that incorporated 3 key components. Of course, the real test of what we'd done was to try out the protocol on a legitimate Alzheimer's patient. Tracy readily volunteered. She had no worries about our as-yet untested program because she'd been there throughout the development process. She knew that our plan was based on carefully designed mental exercise and an eating plan that made use of readily available and inexpensive foods. When I tell you the results were nothing short of amazing, I feel that even this bold statement is inadequate. Tracy's improvement was marked and very fast. After following our program for 30 days, we began seeing incredible results. She no longer seemed to forget little things like she'd been doing. Her bouts of confusion simply stopped, and she could easily recall things from decades ago as if it was yesterday. She was sharper than ever and seemed to have more physical energy too. Of course, we waited just a few more months to be sure, but it was like a miracle. In fact, her healing process seemed so powerful that I tried the program myself. No, I don't have Alzheimer's or anything, yet I noticed a big difference in my own mental faculties as well. Like Tracy, I seemed to focus better and could recall distant details more easily. My memory was sharper and I felt like I had more energy than ever. Remember, we were on a ketogenic diet. Have you ever heard of Dr. Atkins? Well, his diet is based on eliminating carbs and sugars and kicking the body into ketosis, the process of generating ketones to dissolve body fat. Of course, Dr. Turner and I didn't simply use this one test case as proof. Like any good scientist, he wanted to try and disprove what we'd created. So over the next year or so, we published articles and posted ads online to find volunteers at various stages of Alzheimer's and dementia to try our new protocol. In the course of that year, we tracked the progress of 126 individuals who suffered from these memory diseases. We also asked another 50 people who didn't have any kind of memory issues to follow the program as well as a control group. The results were extraordinary. Without exception, all of our 126 volunteers reported marked improvement in memory, focus, and overall energy levels.
Now, I'm going to show you a few common objects. What is this?
Pacifier.
What is this?
Screwdriver.
Stories began to pour in about how astonishing their improvement was, and Tracy, Dr. Turner, and I knew we'd finally hit upon what we'd hoped for so long. When our control group also reported the same kind of noticeable changes that I'd found in myself, we knew that then it was time to launch this website and introduce our program to the world. Before I get into the details of our program and how you can use it to eradicate Alzheimer's and get the rest of your life back, I want to assure you that this is extremely personally important for me and Tracy. This is now our mission in life. We now have a way to combat Alzheimer's, dementia, and other diseases, and we finally got something to offer sufferers like you and your loved ones. We can now do something to change the horrifying statistics that currently represent the doom and gloom of memory illnesses. Did you know that according to the Alzheimer's Association, more than 5.4 million Americans in 2016 have Alzheimer's? That 1 in 9 people over the age of 65 have or will develop Alzheimer's. That by the middle of the century, someone will develop the disease every 33 seconds. Alzheimer's is listed as the 6th leading cause of death in the United States alone, and in fact, the 5th leading cause of death for people over 65. According to the medical community, Alzheimer's is the only top 10 rated killer that cannot be treated, prevented, or slowed. And I'm here to tell you in no uncertain terms that this is absolutely and positively wrong. That's what I'm here to share with you. The results of our nearly 2-year-long obsession to find a real and effective treatment for Tracy's condition. A program that has been painstakingly researched and is based on some very new and revolutionary work by independent scientific research all over the globe. I've compiled this information and created a program that's designed to give you back your life. A program to prevent, slow, and even reverse Alzheimer's. A system that, as of today, has helped 13,751 people overcome their Alzheimer's and dementia issues and has given them back a happy and productive life. I'm calling it the Alzheimer's Defense Program, and you're about to learn exactly how it can work for you and your loved ones. I'm going to be blunt and honest with you. You're probably asking yourself why you haven't heard of a cure for this disease before. Why, if it's really possible to stop, reverse, and even delete the disease altogether, haven't you seen some commercials on TV for an amazing new drug? I'll give you 100 billion reasons, and they all have a $sign attached. According to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, treating this disease is a $100 billion a year industry in our country alone. That means your doctors, medical facilities, and big pharma are raking in huge profits from your sickness and the suffering of your family. Is it any wonder why so many people like us face the nightmare of losing a loved one or losing ourselves? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm a 65-year-old hard-working American who was blindsided by the terrifyingly real prospect of losing my wife. Not just mentally, but from the real possibility of her running headlong into a speeding bus. And nobody, absolutely nobody in the medical field offered us anything other than expensive and ineffective treatments plus a hopeless outlook. My friend, I'm here today to pull back the curtain of lies that the medical establishment has tried to drape over our eyes. I'm going to show you, to prove to you, that your Alzheimer's or the dementia of someone dear to you is not a death sentence. That you can fight back and you can even win. What I'm about to share with you is so astonishing because it's so simple. You probably won't believe how easy it is to prevent or reverse your or a loved one's Alzheimer's, without drugs, without expensive medical treatments, and without side effects. Look, I'm not trying to cast any aspirations on your trusted family doctor. He or she would be just as excited as you to learn what I'm about to reveal. It's just that the medical industry is primarily controlled by Big Pharma. It's these huge pill pushers that jack up the prices of your medications and offer you nothing but bills and pain. These are the guys who are sucking over $100 billion from our pockets each year and pushing useless and dangerous meds on us. Memetine and donepezil are among the most common medications. And do you know that even the FDA, who has approved them, states that these drugs do not actually cure Alzheimer's and dementia, they only lessen the symptoms for a time. On the other hand, the amazing development that Dr. Turner and I have worked on is backed by independent clinical studies with proven results. And now you're about to learn exactly how to brighten your life or that of someone you love. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, listen to what Emily M. from Boston, Massachusetts has to say about our program. I guess I'm like a lot of people today. My dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's about 5 years ago, and up until last year, things were really starting to get bad. My dad is 76 years old, and he was always a big, strong man. Even up to the day he was told he had the dreaded sickness, he was a vibrant, powerful guy. He didn't look his age, and he was always so active. He ran the Boston Marathon that year and was one of those crazies who jumped in the freezing water in the winter for charity. But then, once Alzheimer's started to take hold, it changed him. He began to lose interest in things he loved before, and of course, began to get forgetful. When he started forgetting us kids, that was hard. It was like I was watching some weird old sci-fi movie where my dad was being replaced by a pod or something. He was going fast, too. Within 4 years, he could barely function, and he didn't know who I or my brothers were anymore. He still remembered my mom, but even that was getting problematic. Then I ran across Paul's program, and I felt like somebody had thrown me a lifeline. I was so excited just to have a glimmer of hope that I didn't even worry about whether this was just one more internet scam or whatever. The cost was next to nothing. The program didn't use any drugs and only focused on food and mental exercise. So I figured, what did we have to lose? My mom and I changed my dad's diet to follow the program, and we got him doing the puzzles and games too. He loved that. My dad was always a trivia buff, and every Sunday morning while growing up, rain or shine, you could find him on the back porch doing the crossword. I know it sounds trite, but the results were nothing short of astonishing. Within a couple of weeks, we began to see real changes. Suddenly, when I'd come over, my dad would look up from his book or puzzle, and he'd recognize me. In less than a month, he was hardly forgetting anything at all and was going out for walks with Mom again. It's been over a year and we've got my dad back. It's like waking up from a nightmare. All I can say is, thank God for Paul Marston, his wife Tracy, and their friend Dr. Turner. Our program, which we call the Alzheimer's Defense Program, or ADP, was sparked by dozens of independent clinical studies carried out around the world, from right here in the US to the UK, Europe, and even Australia. Studies, as I cited above, that prove that by eating certain foods that contain a special, naturally occurring chemical compound that generates high levels of ketones, dramatically and positively affecting your brain and giving you the natural healing power to stop, reverse, and even prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory-related illnesses. We finally found a way around the greedy pill pushers who want nothing more than to bleed us dry. Remember, I'm going to share with you my painstakingly researched, tested, and proven system for stopping, reversing, and even eradicating Alzheimer's once and for all. First, let's begin with what not to do. Like virtually every health condition, disease, and the aging process in general, Alzheimer's is potentially caused by and accelerated by diet. And do you know something really surprising? The onset of Alzheimer's is virtually identical to how people get type 2 diabetes. Simply by limiting your sugar and grain intake, which everybody knows is a good idea now. can dramatically decrease a person's chance of getting Alzheimer's and also slow down the progression of the disease once you have it. Funny how things work together, isn't it? Your body stores sugar in your liver in the form of glycogen. This glycogen is used to produce glucose, which is what normally fuels the brain. It's also what causes diabetes, because eventually your body becomes resistant to the insulin that breaks it down. Now, here's the real power secret behind ADP. The eating plan of our program, which we call the Healing Fuel, makes use of foods high in a critically important substance known as MCTs. This special ketone-stimulating compound is the secret key that helps your body unlock its true healing potential. And when combined with low carbs and higher fat, it creates high levels of ketones and lowers the amount of blood sugar your body produces and stores. So treating Alzheimer's and dementia also reduces your risk of type 2 diabetes and vice versa. One thing that we found that has really shocked the more than 13,000 happy participants in our ADP is that they actually enjoy using the program. You can get healthy, both physically and mentally, and really have fun with it. Why? Because part of treating and eliminating Alzheimer's disease is mental exercise. Your brain is not unlike your muscles. Use it frequently, and by use it I mean put it to work solving problems, and it stays fit and even gets stronger. On the other hand, neglect your brain as some people neglect their body, and it goes soft on you. By keeping your mind engaged with games, puzzles, and socialization, you create new neural pathways. While this technique in and of itself isn't the end-all cure, it does force your brain to expand its ability to memorize and recall information. It's like a roadmap to the U.S. There's more than one way to get from Houston to New York. And by creating new information pathways in your brain, you can help circumvent areas that are affected by plaques and the tau protein that causes Alzheimer's and dementia. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you always remembered where you set your keys or the name of your favorite third-grade teacher? How would it be knowing that the satisfaction you gained from completing a crossword puzzle also came from knowing that you were fighting a winning battle against what so many believe is the inevitable? Or how would your heart sing as you watch a parent or grandparent suddenly materialize out of their own mental fog? To visit them one day and see the light of recognition in their eyes and a warm smile on their face that you never thought you'd see again. And knowing that one simple decision that you make today was all it took. And now for the biggie. I'm about to share with you exactly how to apply the ADP's Healing Fuel diet, cognitive resetting mental exercise, and daily healing self-massage to permanently change your life forever. The ADP is a carefully structured, step-by-step program that integrates 3 critical components that you must follow to the letter if you want to see true results. Everything we now know is built on following this exact protocol. The sooner you or the person you love who's being affected by Alzheimer's gets started, the faster and more dramatic the results will be. No longer will you have to face the terror of literally losing your identity. With ADP, you'll no longer have to sit back and watch somebody you care for slip away until they become a vegetable who barely even resembles the person you once knew. By following the scientifically proven Alzheimer's Defense Program, you have a doomsday weapon that you can use against Alzheimer's. You no longer have to sit back and take it. You take the fight to the disease, and if you stick to it the way that I'll show you, you can win. Really win. Win back your life and the lives of those you love. Wow, quite a lot so far, isn't it? I don't blame you if you feel a bit overwhelmed and maybe even a bit skeptical. Any smart person would. Yet your patience is about to pay off. We're finally coming to what the last few minutes has really been about. The Alzheimer's Defense Program. At this point, you really have only 2 choices. You can heave a sigh and move on, or you can lean in and pay close attention to the life-changing secrets I'm about to reveal to you right now. The Alzheimer's Defense Program is unique because unlike so many unproven internet products, it doesn't hinge on some magical herb or fantastic-sounding extract from a rare plant you've never heard of. Dr. Turner and I have created the plan to be as simple to follow as possible. The Healing Fuel portion contains foods that are inexpensive, can be found easily in any grocery store, and there's no cooking involved. You simply follow the charts provided in the ADP and pick which foods to eat and in which portions each day. Every item in the Healing Fuel component consists of foods that provide you with the healing catalyst of MCTs, that special compound that boosts your ketones levels and that gives your body the right balance of low carbs and fats and proteins to combat the brain plaques, and that dissolves the destructive tau protein that creates the telltale Alzheimer's brain tangles. The cognitive reset component has been carefully planned so that you get the maximum benefit from the least amount of effort. All of the exercises, puzzles, and games strengthen your cognitive and memory functions by creating new and strong neural pathways. We've made this component fun to do as well, so that you never get bored. We even incorporated self-healing massage techniques that you can do anytime and anywhere to increase vital blood flow to your brain, which assist in the healing process as well as provides tremendous stress relief. The ADP uses no drugs, it requires no surgeries, or even a doctor's visit. This is an all-natural program that not only stops, reverses, and eliminates Alzheimer's and dementia, it'll improve your overall health as well. It's been proven over and over again that diet is the #1 cause of all non-injury and non-congenital health issues. What we eat and how we eat has a dramatic effect on how we feel. Conversely, eating the right things in the right way has tremendously powerful and positive effects on your health in the immediate and long-term future. The Alzheimer's Defense Program takes this idea to an entirely new level. It's been tested and proven to work for more than 13,000 sufferers of Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory diseases. It'll work for you, even if you or your loved ones are already suffering with Alzheimer's and dementia. I guarantee it. Whether you're a healthy person who exercises every day and tries to eat right, or if you've never even really bothered about watching your weight, fitness, or what you eat, the ADP is going to change your life for the better and give you or someone suffering with Alzheimer's back a quality of life you may have thought impossible. Now, before I get into the details of exactly what the ADP is, let me take a second to tell you what it's not. After all, I think you've been deceived long enough by internet scams and by a medical community that's more interested in squeezing $100 billion out of you than actually helping you get better. The Alzheimer's Defense Program is not a crazy diet. No weird foods, no disgusting tricks, and no big expensive grocery bills buying things you've never heard of before. The ADP does not involve taking any drugs of any kind. The ADP doesn't ask you to give up precious hours of your time, and it also isn't one more important thing. The ADP isn't going to cost you a fortune. We'll get into that in a moment. But believe me, my friend, this is my mission in life, and I want everyone who suffers from Alzheimer's or knows someone that is to be able to acquire and use the system and have absolutely no barriers to replacing the fear of losing your identity with the joy of the quality of life you and your loved ones deserve. The Alzheimer's Defense Program is for men and women who are tired of feeling like victims, people like you who are tired of being jerked around by doctors and big pharma, and who are ready for a scientifically tested and proven system to stop, reverse, and even eliminate Alzheimer's disease and dementia once and for all. Nothing in life is easy, is it? It'd be great if there was a simple just press button to fix the problem, but that's not realistic. The ADP is an explicitly outlined program which details how Alzheimer's and other memory illnesses affect the brain, and how the program itself has been designed to alter your own biochemistry to repair the damage and maintain neurological health. The ADP is composed of a carefully structured 30-day process involving the Healing Fuel Eating Plan, the Cognitive Reset mental exercises, and self-healing massage techniques. It takes little time, and yet if you follow the program exactly, the results you'll see are going to blow you away. So if you want to, break down the brain plaques that's literally suffocating your neurons so they can't fire properly and store and retrieve information. Attack and destroy the tau protein, which is causing the Alzheimer's tangles that are slowly eating away at your very sense of self. Empower your brain to become stronger and more active than ever by creating and maintaining new neural pathways. Give your body what it needs to heal itself. Enjoy better overall health and energy than you have in years. Finally be able to fight back instead of letting Alzheimer's take away what's rightfully yours. Then the ADP isn't just an answer to your prayers, it's the only answer to your prayers. Just listen to what these people had to say about it. I'll be honest, I was very skeptical at first. You know how it is today, all of these fly-by-night internet things that promise the moon. Boy, was I wrong, though. If it weren't for my wife convincing me that this program was worth my time and a few pennies, I don't know where I'd be. Yes, I do. I'd be in a hospice, maybe. A vegetable who didn't know who he was, or even who any of my family was. Thank you, Paul. Juan Esposito of Ventura, California. I'll be damned if this system isn't the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. I feel great, my memory has improved, and I'm no longer terrified of losing myself. I know exactly how Paul felt, and it still gives me the willies when I remember the look of horror in my husband's face when we were told. Up until a year ago, that day haunted me whether I was awake or asleep. The stink of that doctor's office, the cold air, the icy hand that clamped around my heart. And thanks to Paul, Tracy, and Dr. Turner, I've turned that nightmare into a dream. Laura Albert of St. Cloud, Minnesota. When you get the ADP, I want you to immediately turn to page 7, where we explain how a diet rich in MCTs is the true powerhouse catalyst that fuels Alzheimer's prevention and reversal. It does this by creating elevated levels of ketones in your body to deliver higher levels of nutrients to your brain. These ketones can be metabolized by all brain cells, including those affected by Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory diseases. Then turn to the Cognitive Reset section and carefully read the introduction, where the ADP explains exactly how and why specific mental exercises performed at specific times generate new neural pathways and assist in the brain's ability to heal itself. The science is found, and the thousands of satisfied customers are hard proof that the ADP actually destroys Alzheimer's and empowers you to take back the life you and your family so richly deserve. Okay, Paul, we get it. The ADP is tested, proven, and amazing. Cut the bull and get down to the brass tacks already. Fair enough? If you're as smart as I know you are, I know that because you've taken the time to watch this all the way through, then you're probably wondering how much the system actually cost. It must cost thousands, right? And honestly, why not? What person in their right mind wouldn't literally mortgage their home just for a chance of healing or preventing their Alzheimer's or dementia? Who among us wouldn't gladly sell all that we have if we had even a glimmer of hope to cure someone that we love? Well, let me assure you right now that you won't have to do any of that. I'd certainly be justified in charging hundreds or even thousands for this program. It's helped over 13,000 people eliminate and prevent Alzheimer's. And believe me, every single one of them has stated, in no uncertain terms, that they would have paid 10 or even 100 times what I'm actually charging for the ADP. Many folks honestly can't believe I'm practically giving it away and can't understand why. I'll get to the price in a moment, but first I want to share a few unique things that our ADP does for you. In addition to everything we've discussed, the eating program is also going to help control blood sugar. This is a major issue for people as they age. Whether it's just energy or if you may be in danger of developing type 2 diabetes, the Alzheimer's Defense Program is going to positively affect how your body stores and breaks down sugars. If you're in danger of developing type 2 diabetes, or even if you have it now, you're going to be astonished at the results, and nothing short of thrilled to get rid of the expensive medications you may be on now. Did you know that actively stimulating your brain's ability to create and utilize new neural pathways does more than just improve memory? Our program includes what we call a cognitive reset. You're improving memory as well as actually increasing your intelligence quotient. Active mental problem solving is one of the most effective ways to strengthen your overall mental powers. Makes sense, doesn't it? Ever wonder why kids who spend all their time playing video games and fooling around with Facebook can't seem to think for themselves? It's lack of mental stimulation. Now, the retail price of the Alzheimer's Defense Program is easily $199 based simply on the material that's included alone. However, we're just getting started. Not only am I not charging you retail for the ADP, I want to sweeten the pot a little, if you'll allow me. Just for being patient with me and watching this presentation all the way through, I'm going to throw in $200 worth of additional bonuses absolutely free. In addition to the ADP, you'll also receive a bonus book of smoothie recipes that you can incorporate into your Healing Fuel plan, defeating Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory illnesses by following a specific eating program can be delicious, and this power-packed set of recipes fuels your body's recovery and tastes great too. In addition to the cognitive reset exercises included in the ADP, we're going to throw in an additional set of games and puzzles that you can incorporate into your program anytime. Use them to accelerate your healing and send your mental powers soaring. The time-tested Asian self-massage and meditation goes a long way in relieving your stress and stimulating your brain's self-healing abilities. We've also included 5 relaxation tracks to be listened to whenever you want to and can be downloaded onto a smart device or iPod so that you can use the techniques anytime and anywhere. Now you see why $199 is actually a fair retail price, especially when you throw in an extra $200 worth of additional bonuses to help you out. Any sane person would gladly pay $399 for all that or more, right? But that's not the price for you. Stay with me a few moments more and I'm going to show you a real deal. Of course, you could just walk away. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you don't want to take the time to learn a system like this. Or maybe you just don't believe there's really a way to prevent and even reverse Alzheimer's and dementia. If so, I understand completely. Your doctors have certainly not given you much hope, and after all, they're doctors. So if they don't hold out hope, there must not be any, right? Wrong. Forgive me, but I have to say this. The medical industry makes thousands of dollars off of you every year in costly medications and treatments that don't help you or your loved ones. To be frank, if you walk away today and don't at least give the ADP a try, you're looking forward to ever-increasing medical bills and absolutely no hope of really seeing any results. In addition, once the disease progresses to the point where the patient is required to be moved into an assisted living facility or higher in-home care, the average cost after insurance is $42,000 annually. And I don't want that for you. This isn't just a business for me. Helping people like you overcome Alzheimer's is my life's work. It's literally what I live for, and I feel this is a sacred duty. That's why I want to remove all barriers between you and your making the decision to take action today. It's true, it does cost money to get the word out there. I do have to charge a little something for this system in order to help offset my costs. So today I'm going to let you have the entire Alzheimer's Defense Program and the 3 bonuses, not for $3.99, not for the original established retail price of $199, and not even for as little as $99. The entire system is yours right now for only $67. Think of it. For the price of a mediocre meal for you and your spouse, you get to open the door of opportunity and get your hands on a proven weapon in your fight against Alzheimer's. For only $67, you can make sure that you and your spouse and everyone else you know can share as many dinners, holidays, and laughs as you can dream of. Click the order button below and make this the day you took back your life. In order to show you that this is truly the real deal, I want to offer you an ironclad guarantee. Get the entire ADP and the 3 bonuses. The proven 30-day healing fuel eating plan that boosts your body's ketones production and gives your brain the power to heal. The cognitive reset exercises to build new neural pathways and beef up the power of your mind. The time-tested Asian self-massage and meditation guidebook to boost your healing process. The delicious bonus smoothie recipe book. Additional brain-boosting puzzles to accelerate your exercise program. The 5 meditation tracks to help you relax and maximize the healing power of the massage and meditation program. Get all of this today at your special price of $67 and start using the program right away. Once you've clicked that button, you'll be taken to my secure checkout page that looks like this. And then you'll go directly to your own private members area where you will have complete access to the ADP and the bonuses I'm offering you. Now, if you aren't totally satisfied with the information I'm giving you, if you think you've wasted your money, then please request a refund anytime during the next 60 days, and I'll gladly refund 100% of your purchase price with no questions asked. Keep in mind that the Alzheimer's Defense Program is a 30-day program. That's how confident I am that you'll be nothing short of thrilled. I'll guarantee your purchase for more than double the time it takes for you to see real results. You simply can't lose, can you? It's really a no-brainer. Look below this video and lock in your discounted price of only $67 and take advantage of our ironclad 100% 60-day money-back guarantee. One simple click is all it takes to wake up from the nightmare of Alzheimer's and step into the dream of a life that's truly fulfilling and worth living. It's time to take action. It's time that you got on the front lines and whipped Alzheimer's once and for all. Don't wait another minute. Don't let this disease take away your identity. Don't watch as someone close to you is taken away slowly and painfully. Don't keep feeding the medical industry's greed. Click the order button now and get what you deserve. A happy and healthy life free from fear. Hi there, it's Paul again. Since you're still watching, I thought you may have a few questions about our program, so I've tried to address the most common here. Question: what happens if I'm not totally satisfied with the ADP? Answer: you simply request a refund and we'll give you 100% of your $67 purchase price back with no questions asked. Question: how long does the ADP take to work? Answer: we've designed this program to be a 30-day plan. Of course, you can repeat the program over and over as many times as you'd like. By doing so, you're only strengthening your body and brain. However, you should see dramatic results after the first 30 days are up, and marked results long before that. Question: what kinds of food do I have to eat? Answer: the eating plan consists of foods that help your body create ketones rather than glucose and even burn off glycogen in your liver. These foods include coconut oil and milk, fava beans, meats such as pork and beef, and of course, lots of fish. The meal plan contains lots of options which also include but are not limited to blueberries, walnuts, cashews, avocados, eggs, asparagus, and so much more. You'll never get bored with your meals. Question: what about the brain exercises? What are they? Answer: the cognitive reset includes 3 separate classifications of exercise. A group of 5 meditation and mindfulness exercises that are performed every morning during the 30-day plan. Additionally, there are 5 memory exercises that you will perform as indicated in the ADP. Finally, there are 10 logical reasoning exercises to be performed as the plan indicates, and that's to say nothing of the bonus accelerators too.